Almost 2 full years after recreational marijuana was legalized in Minnesota, 249 businesses became the winners of cannabis licenses last week. Northern News Now, Sophia Lauber has more on what the cannabis lottery could mean for the Northland and what remains unknown.
After the lottery last week, a lot of questions still remain, including who those winners are. I made some calls trying to track down winning businesses in the Duluth area and got in contact with the owner of Lake Superior Dispensary here on Central Entrance in Duluth. Danielle Detlefson wasn't an applicant, but she had previously been a part of the lottery process, dropping out in 2024 when the first lottery draft was canceled.
It's being long and drawn out, and the hardest part is not knowing what the next step is. You can't accomplish your next step until you know your last step, right?
Instead, she applied as a more limited micro business, which means she could still sell recreational marijuana in a limited capacity. But she's now waiting for a license from the county. Her customers waiting with her.
They want to know specific dates, and I can just do the best I can with what I know and what I'm learning.
Josh Collins with the State Office of Cannabis Management acknowledges the process has taken a while.
Setting up an entirely new regulatory system is complicated, especially one that involves products that are still federally illegal.
He says data on lottery winners will be posted in the coming weeks.
Lots of people are interested in where these applicants come from. Where might they begin to see businesses setting up storefronts?
The lottery process is completely random when it comes to location, so the Duluth area could theoretically end up with no licenses, although that doesn't include micro businesses. If that were to happen here or elsewhere, Cannabis Management officials say they could potentially open up additional licensing opportunities in the future. In Duluth, Sophia Lauber, Northern News Now.
The next and final state lottery for the foreseeable future will take place on July 22nd, handing out 75 more retail licenses.